Are you struggling for consistency in your sim racing? Does your iRating look like a roller coaster? If so, we have good news for you. The way to get more consistent is to first understand what you're doing differently than the professionals. And VRS is the answer. With our competitive subscription, you will have the telemetry, setups, tutorials, and everything else you need to fully analyze your driving. Our data packs and the ability to compare your driving with the best in the world will show you exactly where to adjust your inputs, change your driving line, and shave seconds off of your lap times. And our powerful and precise Direct Force Pro wheelbase and precision pedals are being used by some of the world's best drivers. All these champions agree that VRS hardware is not just the best on the market, it's also priced well below the competition. So if you're looking to upgrade to direct drive and the best pedals in sim racing, VRS is your answer. If you want to get better, get faster, and make it happen sooner rather than later, you owe it to yourself to find out why so many people are switching to VRS. You'll be so glad that you did. Visit www.virtualracingschool.com and learn why the best use VRS.
Ricmotech, high-performance sim racing equipment. There's only one place to go, ricmotech.com.
So, I've got to hand it to our league's organizers. After trying to drive home the fact that we're in the throes of winter, they kick off the season north of the border, but have done their best to thaw me out 2 weeks in a row. Last round, it was Florida, and tonight we find ourselves just 25 miles south of the land of cement ponds and movie stars, Long Beach, California. Envisioned by former travel agent Chris Pook as the Monaco of the West, and first raced in 1975, tonight's venue hosted Formula One for many years and currently serves as the home of the longest-running major street race in North America, where CART and IndyCar have called this 2-mile, 11-turn concrete canyon home. Did I call it CART? Oh my God. Well, let's say IndyCar has called this 2-mile, 11-turn concrete canyon home since 1984. Welcome to round number 3 of the Extreme Motorsports Ricmotech World Challenge, presented by the SCCA Foundation, Buttkicker, and Proforma Elite here on Apex Racing TV. And I'm Greg Ginsburg, and of course, joining me as always in the announcement booth is Larry Lefty McLeod, along with Jonathan Grabowski, bringing us all the best views of tonight's action. And so, good evening, Larry, and welcome to one of your favorite tracks ever, Long Beach.
It totally is, yes. The home of CART, Champ Car, IndyCar, and the always legendary Toyota Celebrity Races that used to be held there every year. But of course, the most prestigious is the Ricmotech World Challenge, where we're going to get to see these ginormous LMDH or GTP cars attempt to get around that hairpin, as well as probably climbing into, or at least close to, the fountain as they head down there as well.
Going through the fountain.
It's going to be a lot of interesting racing tonight. I think we've got a pretty decent field here. All of our classes are really stacked tonight. This is going to be interesting. It's going to be a race of attrition. It's going to be a race of who can keep clean and stay off the walls, because if you can't, there's going to be damage involved. The last time, you and I were just talking about this, we ran a World Challenge race here a couple seasons back. There was a full course caution. There were penalties. The race had just about everything. We'll see what tonight brings to us.
Yeah, and Larry, as we take a look at Fernando Takahashi working his way down the backside of the course, my understanding is that over right by turn 10, they've got these little dollies that they're going to throw the GTP cars on, and so they can kind of rotate them around the hairpin. It should be good fun.
Yeah, virtual dollies, perfect.
That's exactly. All right, so let's do this. Why don't we turn things over to Kevin Ford? I guarantee you he's not driving a GTP car right now, but Kevin is going to give us tonight's track guide of the Grand Prix circuit at Long Beach.
Welcome, everyone, to Long Beach Street Circuit. Great to have you with us as we provide you your track guide today around this incredible road course here in beautiful sunny Long Beach, California. Well, let's get started as we head up the front straightaway here on East Shoreline Drive. You'll notice our pit area to the right and our main grandstands to the left as we go across the stripe and head up this very fast front straight. Drivers will be picking up a lot of speed as they head down into turn 1 here. Our pit exit to the right there. And then heavy braking as we make our entry through the apex of 1. Immediately after that, we're going to set up our entry into the fountain section. A very tight, twisting little area around those gardens. No time to sightsee, got to stay on task. Through turn 4, around the wall here, down into this very tight entry of 5 that opens up and gives you your first overtaking opportunity here as we head up towards turn 6. This will be another heavy brake zone. There'll be a slight corner after 6 here as the track bends back to the left on the streets here for turn 7, and then ultimately down into turn 8. Very tight exit here, but this will take you out onto one of the fastest sections of the course here, East Seaside Way. Another big overtaking opportunity here coming down into turn 9. This does get a little bit tight on exit, so drivers are going to have to watch because they've got to track right back to the left to set up that entry heading down into turn 10 here, and then ultimately back for 11, that tight hairpin to the right, and then right back to throttle and up through the gears as we head towards that stripe once again. There you go. There's your track guide for the beautiful and very fast Long Beach Street Circuit.
And thanks so much to Kevin Ford for that error-free drive around 2 miles at Long Beach for tonight's track guide. Thanks so much. And, you know, it is a very quick lap around here, Larry. In practice this week, the GTP cars, I think we're running in the minute 9 range, and the GT3 drivers were just about, I don't know, about 10 seconds, 12 seconds off of that. So things are going to go by very, very quickly here.
Yeah, and what that'll do is in an hour and 15-minute race, it makes you dizzy because you're blitzing around this place a minute at a time, and the walls, sometimes you forget which corner you're in. These walls sometimes look the same. Every corner requires a different feel and a different approach around this track, and it's going to make it very difficult for our drivers over the course of 75 minutes to keep it clean and off of those walls. I tell you, you can't underestimate this challenge.
Yeah, and, you know, and as opposed to CTLP, Mosport, where we were for round 1, as opposed to Daytona, where we were 2 weeks ago, you know, at least there's a modicum of runoff, and if you get things wrong, to try to gather things up and continue on here, as you can see, and wow, as Fernando Takahashi, you could see how deliberate he had to be through the hairpin, which is probably a 30-mile-per-hour corner for these cars at best. And there's Marlon Jones trying the same thing, trying to use every last inch of pavement that he can. You know, you just have concrete walls. You know, it's if anything even worse than Watkins Glen, because the wall literally is the side of the track. You know, at least at Watkins Glen, you've got, I don't know, maybe 3 feet before you go.
And Watkins Glen or any natural terrain type of road course has a feel, it has a personality. You sort of get into a rhythm. This is classic street circuit. There are potholes, there are manhole covers, there are all sorts of things you have to deal with. And as you watch, as we're on board here with Leo Dragata, we're on board here. You can see these walls are taller than the driver, and there's bumps constantly. This left-hander he's coming up to down here at turn 6, it is so slippery, so difficult. And this is in what I think the easier cars in the GT3. As you get into those into the GTPs, I think it's even harder.
Yeah, well, first off here, practically every corner here is a blind corner. And you really just have to be able to feel out where to turn and build up that muscle memory. Yeah, but indeed, with these GTP cars, for the most part, most of these corners for them are slower corners that the aerodynamic downforce that these cars are built to generate. In many cases, you're not going fast enough to be able to rely on it. You're having to rely much more on mechanical grip through these corners, as we see here is one of our drivers. Bailey Petrowski from D2D Sim Racing, our winner last round in GTP, finds himself going around there over at, I believe that was over at turn 5. Let's do this, Larry, as we've got our drivers. They are out for qualifying right now, and it is, as we do always here in the World Challenge, a 15-minute qualifying session where we give our drivers 4 attempts, 4 flying laps, in order to set the fastest lap they can and set the grid for tonight's race. Let's take a look at the different classes that we have running. Of course, we were looking just a few moments ago at the GTP cars, the prototype machines, but we also have GT3 split up into both Pro category and AM category. Right now, we're taking a look at Ian Patience, one of our AM category drivers, currently our second fastest driver. You'll be able to pick out the AM category drivers because they've got the green number boards on their cars. They've got green mirrors and windshield banners, and also end plates on the wings. And if you look at the timing tower on the left-hand side of the screen, as if we haven't driven home the fact that they've got the green colors to identify them, well, that's green on the timing tower too. In our Pro category, I might mention that Patience currently running second in AM here in qualifying. In the Pro category, where we're taking a look here at Mike Dam from Orion Racing, who is now your second fastest driver in the class to his teammate Leo Dragota, but you can pick out the Pro category drivers because they have the Ricmotech red number boards on their cars. They've got the Ricmotech red mirrors. Yes. Thank you for inserting that. Also, the windshield banners and end plates on their wings. Mike Dam, who is currently working his 3rd flying lap, falls down to 3rd fastest in Pro qualifying, as Michael Brooks, now in his wrong stuffed Lamborghini, moves up to 2nd fastest, and currently Orion's Leo Dragota, your fastest driver on track. And then if we go back over to our prototype cars, again, pretty easy to pick out. They've got the black number boards, windshield banners, etc.,
and they look like prototypes.
They look like prototype cars, exactly. No confusing them with the GT3 cars, except maybe once they slam into the wall and get all crunched up. Anyway,
which often never happens around here.
No.
Okay, so right now at the top of the provisional board, with all 4 of his laps in the books, is Tanner Dimples. We were kind of watching him here, just sort of a cool down lap, so to speak. Bailey Petrowski on that 4th and final lap right now. That's Palikui Grant right there.
And Grant, Petrowski's teammate, our season, this is season 9, he was our season 7 champion. Petrowski was season 8 champion in the class, and right now it looks like Petrowski has finished up his final flying lap, and Grant's on a cool down here as well. Best he is going to do is 3rd fastest.
Yeah, just a handful of drivers in the prototypes that are on their last lap, again, with only a minute per time around. It goes pretty quickly here in qualifying to be able to get your 4 flyers. And even in the GT3s, things are starting to settle down with Leo Dragota. We just saw he has parked it. He's got his 4 laps in provisionally on the pole position overall and for the Pro class, until right there, teammate Mike Dam goes and eclipses him by 4/1000ths of a second.
On his final flying lap, he does that. Wow.
Orion teammates, 1-2 right now overall in the GT3 Pro.
And if we take a look at GT3 AM, and I believe he's on his final flying lap right now, Kurt Roberts in the number 195 machine. There, he is a 118.85. He's currently up by about 0.06 of a second on let's see who's running. Looks like Ilya Spiker, who is new here this weekend. And Larry, we'll pick that out. Oh, a little tap of the wall there by Kurt Roberts. We'll see if he can.
Well, that may negate the lap because he's on his fourth final flyer. Depends on how hard. A 0x should negate your lap time per the way iRacing works. But we'll see. It's tough to avoid these walls around here. Certainly down there at that, I think that was turn 8.
There was 8.
Yeah, tough corner to get through. There's just so bumpy through there. But for Roberts right now, already, even if you rub the walls, still on that provisional pole in the AM category. So for newcomers, already vaulting right to the top, ahead of one of the other newcomers here, Ilya Spiker.
That's right. So a number of new drivers here running with us this week, and many of them from Rockefeller Racing. We've got Ilya Spiker, we just mentioned, Milan Harris, John Crew, and Keith Stein. I believe they are all running in the GT3 AM category. In addition to that, we have a driver. This is an interesting move here. Aaron Beaver, who has been running for quite some time in GT3 AM. He moves over from Delta SimTech over to Rockefeller Racing as well. And Aaron was our winner in round number 2. So a big change there, as he's going to have a number of other teammates, whereas he was the only driver in the series from Delta SimTech. We also have some drivers that are making changes in the cars that they are driving. Josh Vidal from Hutch Sport is moving from the Audi to the Mercedes. Marlon Jones, who is running GTP, he's going to be switching from the Porsche 963 to the BMW M-Power. And then Ben Rose, going to be switching from the Cadillac to the Porsche. But let's do this, Larry. And we've got a few minutes here left in qualifying, about 5 minutes. That'll give us a little bit of extra time. Why don't we bring in Mark Schindel? He's driver of the number 418 Schindel Racing GT3 AM BMW M4, and I think this is the first time we've had him in the booth. So welcome, Mark.
Hi, Mark. So good evening as we get ready to run Long Beach. Quick impressions. What's your thoughts about the challenge of racing around the street circuit?
It's really hard. It's going to be hard with traffic, especially the last half of the course with so many turns, but it'll be interesting.
Yeah, for sure. Have you had a chance to do a lot of practice, specifically intermixing with the prototypes?
I have a fair bit of practice with official series, but not a ton with these guys.
Okay. But it'll be interesting tonight for sure. But you got your qualifying laps in. You happy? Is this a target where you want to be in qualifying, or are you just sort of playing the conservative route and hoping to be the last survivor when it's all said and done?
A little bit of both. I could always do better, but I'm sort of new to this track, so I'm still learning it. But I did okay.
Yeah, it certainly is one of the tougher ones around here. So a couple races in now to the season. Maybe you kind of picked out your rivals and try to keep an eye on who do you think has similar pace that is your target to stick with?
Definitely. There are a couple guys I do have my eye on, and I'm not far away from some of them right now, so it's even better.
Yeah, that's always good to kind of know who you're racing, and you never know when you end up racing somebody new. We've even got a bunch of new names that have popped in here even tonight. Is that something that you enjoyed, seeing kind of new faces and the growth here, especially in this class?
This is my first season with these guys. I've done different leagues with GT3s, so I got invited to try this one out. So it's nice to see a lot of GT3s here, but I'm brand new here.
Yeah, well, big class here, but even in the AM category, I think we've got about 21, I think, running here tonight. That's a big field, and considering there's another 10 pro category, you got nearly 30 GT3s running. That's a huge field. I don't know if you've seen that before, but you mix that in with, of course, then the GTPs, and it's going to be busy. It's going to be daunting to try and stay clean out there tonight. Does that come into your pit strategy? Does that come into your race strategy because there's so much traffic?
At normal tracks, yes, that would be a factor, but with here being so tight and short, we're going to get overrun in just a handful of laps, and then it's just be constant traffic. So we'll see.
Yeah, well, it'll be a very interesting night tonight. I'm looking forward to seeing how this is going to go, how long we can stay clean at the start of this race. But for you, welcome to the league. It's definitely a fun one. A lot of folks really like it. Seems like you do too. And I wish you good luck tonight. With any luck, maybe we can get a chance to talk to you at the end of it with a good finish.
I sure hope so. Thanks a lot.
All right, everybody, that is Mark Schindel, driver of the Schindel Racing BMW M4 GT3. Good luck to him tonight on the run here at Long Beach in his first season. And Larry, although we're watching Kurt Roberts right now, who is our fastest driver in AM qualifying, and fourth fastest GT3 overall. He's just taken some reconnaissance laps. We've got about a minute left here in qualifying. I believe he may be one of the only drivers actually circulating the track. But let's do this. Let's do this quickly before the drivers get called to the grid. Let's take a quick look at the point standings after 2 rounds. We'll start off with that incredibly large GT3 AM category. As we mentioned, Aaron Beaver, who's moving to Rockefeller Racing starting this week, took the win at Daytona 2 weeks ago. He is currently your points leader by 12 points over Ian Patience from the Wrong Stuff. And then we've got Alexander Brown from Team Collusion, Jeff Brooks, and Mark Schindel, who we just spoke to in 5th. I should mention Mark finished 3rd at the last race at Daytona. Real good outing for him. In Pro, the Wrong Stuff Racing's Ken Copeland took the win at Daytona, and that was enough to move him into the points lead in GT3 Pro, where he has now, let's see if I do my math, that's 14-point advantage over his teammate Iago Mores. Leo Dragota from Orion this season is currently sitting 3rd in the championships, with Jeff Jacobs and Travis Schwenke rounding out the top 5. And if we move over to GTP, Bailey Petrowski took the win at Daytona, and with that moves to the points lead over his D2D sim racing teammate Palakui Grant. The 2 drivers there separated out by 12 points, with Peter Porchek from DNA Motorsports sitting 3rd in the championship with 107, Ryan Reisman and Baron Glover. And you look there as we're going 18 cars deep in the GTP standings, Larry. That's what we're showing. We have 21 GTP drivers that set times here tonight.
Yeah.
So let's do this as our drivers are getting ready to head out on their pace lap. Let's take a look at the starting order. Your pole sitter tonight in GTP from DNA Motorsports, Tanner Dibble. He managed to outrun our reigning champion Bailey Petrowski by, what's this, if I could tell, 72 1/1000ths of a second separate the drivers on the front row. Palakui Grant and Austin Cook will make up your second row, with Dalton Fredericks starting in 5th, Jordan Butler starting 6th. That's row number 3, with Ben Rose and Ryan Reisman, both from DNA Motorsports, making up row number 4. Fernando Takahashi and Nick Horvath starting 9th and 10th, with Milan Harris and Bruce Jackson starting 11th and 12th. Milan, another one of those brand new Rockefeller Racing drivers. Then we've got Baron Glover and Nolan Borkowski making up row number 7, with Elise Halabi and Peter Porchek 15th and 16th. Jonathan Bass and Marlon Jones will make up row number 8, or probably row number 9, with row 10 being Bobby Childs and Bill Mulfield. And starting 21st in GTP, Dominique Ford.
All right, we move on over to the GT3s, and on the front row, on pole, that Canadian, the Ryan Orion, Mike Dam on the pole right there tonight with that 18-4, just ahead of teammate Leo Dragota. So right now it's a Paul Orion lockout in that front row. Second row is going to be Michael Brooks from the Wrong Stuff Racing on the inside. He'll be lined up with Kurt Roberts on the outside. He is, I believe, your AM leader. Behind them, Travis Schwenke and Ken Copeland making up the 4th row. Chris Thorman, Ilya Spiker on that 5th row. Ian Patience, David Payton on row 6. As the GTPs are starting to line up, but we'll get through the field as the race progresses tonight.
All right, here we go, Larry. And green flag is given by our starter, and we are underway here at Long Beach with Dibble and Petrowski side by side as they come around the first curve and make their run down to turn number 1. Always difficult on cold tires here as we've got Tanner Dibble taking the point. You've got that quick left, then the quick switchback, and then you got to get that car under control to go around the fountain. But it looks like the front end of the GTP field have managed to make their way through as our GT3 field now, Larry, getting the green flag, and they are underway with our 2 Orion Racing teammates by Dan and Jagoda on the front row. The Wrong Stuff Racers directly behind there with Michael Brooks and Travis Schwenke as well. And look at this, Brooks gets around Leah Dragoda as they come into turn 1, but Dragoda with the inside position going into the hairpin, or probably going into the fountain, he's able to get through, and it looks like there was a big bottle up there, Larry, over at the fountain. And you notice that the cars are almost at a standstill, trying to get through there 3 wide through there.
Your typical Southern California traffic going on around the fountain here tonight. A little tough there to get on through. We'll catch up and see if there's actually any incidents or if it was just a lot of 3 and 4 wide funneling down to 2. A good move there for Leo Jagoda to hold that front wheel. They got a spinner in the back row. One of our Frito Sport entries is now spinning. Not sure which one that was.
That might have been John Casey who went around. Could be. Larry over at turn 5. Yep. Yeah,
good
there's
spot
the blue
there. In that Ferrari there, going at 5 again. This place so bumpy, and even a lot of it can be off camber around that turn 5. So tough to keep the grip. As we flash back up to our GTPs, and Tanner Dibble still leading the way over Bailey Petrowski, up by a second already. And we know that Bailey traditionally is a bit of a slow starter. He tends to kind of go conservative for a couple laps, then pick up the pace. He's in a good position here within 1 second, striking down behind Dibble. And then you got Grant, Cook, Fredericks, and Rose back there behind them.
Yeah, and you can see there once again a little bit of a brush of the wall as they came out of turn 8 and made the run down East Seaside Way into these final corners. And Larry, this will be our first chance under speed. See how they handle this hairpin.
The first 2 are through. Yay! All right, so we got that. Also want to note that who's not here tonight for the second race in a row, Shane Larson. Remember, he had that dominant performance at Canadian Tire for the opening round. Now 2 races in a row that he has missed. So, you know, if you're Petrowski or Dibble or Grant or one of these other drivers who's got a shot to win this thing, this is a good opportunity to pick up points. As if Larson comes back, he's already got a win on the board. We'll see if he's got a chance at a championship in the long run. But right now, everyone racing without him.
Wow, and look at that move, Larry, that Ken Copeland put on Travis Schwenke.
Yeah.
Copeland in the Wrong Stuff Mercedes and was just able to come right underneath him over turn 5. Oh!
That's Porzachek.
Porzachek, who's now currently sitting down at 10th, but you know, Porzachek again, our 6th place finisher at Daytona, currently running 3rd in the championship, and that is deadly.
I think that might have been a bit of an overrun past the breaking point into turn 1. There's a bit of a runoff down there. I think he was just getting himself turned around, didn't see any damage on that car, so hopefully he's able to get out of there. It's such a high-speed, long bending straight down into one that's pretty slow. In these cars, you go a little bit deep, you can miss that breaking point. Also, you got to be careful that they're, speaking of trouble at the hairpin, which leads you onto that straight away. That's Bailey Petrowski. From 2nd place all the way down to 6th, based on a little bit of trouble, a little K-turn going on there at that hairpin. But you also got to watch, you come down into 1. We're going to see the crowd come in. There's a line separating the pit exit from the track surface. You can't cross that line. You can get called for an off-track and a slowdown if you do, as Petrowski looks urgent behind Ben Rose, one of his rivals, to try and get back up. But Rose right now holding behind.
You know, and Larry, we didn't discuss it much during there. Actually, we didn't discuss it all during qualifying. Of course, all of our drivers are going to have to take pit stops in order to get their cars to the end of this race. Yeah. And there are some big challenges here at Long Beach. One is the entry into the pits off of the front straight.
Basically.
Yeah, exactly. You're basically having to just wrangle the car off of the front straight and throw it behind the wall. We're going to be coming up on the entrance. Don't miss it here in just a moment. There it goes, right on your right-hand side. But then the exit of the pit lane, you mentioned going down into turn 1. You have to make sure that you're not too far over. If you're on the course, not too far over to the right.
Yeah, coming out of the pits here, it's the world's longest pit out.
Right.
It feels like it's 3 miles long, and the whole track's only 2, so you figure that out. But then you can't turn onto the track surface too early, or you will get caught with a violation of safe exit of the pits.
Exactly.
Yeah, so that's another slowdown. So, again, as much of a mental challenge it is around this place, as there's a bit of the replay here of some of the chaos coming into that first time around the fountain. As these drivers, look at this, there's the spinner. That's Kurt Roberts. Yeah, who was, I believe, our pole sitter. And he's the one that ends up sideways, full Austin Power style there at the fountain, but caused some of that slowdown. Now he's got himself a big challenge to get back up. But yeah, going back to that pits, you got to watch the entry, you got to watch the exit, and then it's such a mental drain to keep this car between the walls for an hour and 15 minutes. Challenges are going to be coming at these drivers left and right, and it's going to be tough to keep the car clean.
Yeah, indeed, and you know it seems so much easier, Larry, on lap number 2 when we didn't have the intermixing of the GT3 GTP traffic. But as we go on board right now with Austin Cook, and you know, Austin's one of the trailing cars here behind some of that GT3 traffic now going through the hairpin. You know, again, we saw there that the speeds of the GTP cars are going through the hairpin, not all that much faster than what the GT3 cars are doing. And I know we saw Kevin Ford, I think, was it like 32 or 33 miles an hour coming through the hairpin.
Some of the issue here is that GT3 is a shorter car, and when you get down to the slow enough speed, any downforce that's provided by a GTP isn't really any benefit anymore. So you now have a long car with no downforce, with a very tall first gear trying to get to a hairpin. And there's 2 different ways to do it. One way, because you're coming off that bending left, is you make the right weight transfer, chunk the car, and let it slide a little bit. The other way is to sort of guide it through. The problem is when driver A does one style, driver B does the other.
Well, inevitably do the other, and they both come together.
Exactly, and you end up with a whole lot of nose-to-tail bumping going in, which creates even more chaos. So we're going to keep our eye on that as the night goes on, but watch different drivers as we get some onboard shots of whether they're a slider into it or they're more of just a slow and steady.
Yeah, and so, Larry, we mentioned Kurt Roberts, who had the issues at the fountain.
Oh,
lap number
speaking
1.
of crashes,
yes,
that's a big one.
That is huge.
That's Sterling in the Ferrari in the GT3, and that's Bill Mofield in the GTP, and that's it's John Casey again getting caught up. Nowhere to go.
And wow, and you can see here is that Ferrari is just shedding parts. The number 87 machine there is not going to have much in the way. There's not going to be much in the way of that Ferrari by the time it gets back.
Yeah, let's catch a replay.
Yeah, see exactly what happened here.
So Dre Divock is the one that may have started some of that problem as he came around that turn 8, gets into that tire barrier, collects a few others with him.
Yeah, and Larry, the pit lane is starting to get a little bit more crowded as it looks like Sterling's still trying to make his way around.
So here's the replay of that other incident. You can see the Ferrari on the outside, who's just going to be a victim here as Mofield gets into the back of him after the contact with the DNA entry, and I'm not sure if that was Korsacek. It might have been.
Yeah. Yep. And that was we can see there from the other side of the other end. That's Korsacek who got into him. Yeah, there was really nothing that Mofield can do there, and it looks like ended up paying the worst price there. But
this
like
track,
you said,
it's so abrupt. There's so much abruptness to everything you do around here, and it creates these unfortunate interactions that we're seeing.
Yeah. So we've got Baron Glover on the pit lane, John Sterling, who's just involved in that incident, and Bill Mofield on the pit lane, Dre Divock, who's on the incident before, Bruce Jackson, and Kurt Roberts as well. So let's see what.
So there's the incident that we had seen from the other angles. It was Korsacek that actually may have started it. He got into the back of Mofield under braking, may have misjudged where his braking point would be.
Yeah, I mean that's a huge challenge here, Larry. Is things tighten down when again all you see are walls and every corner is a blind corner, and you get tucked in behind a car right behind you. You lose your bearings sometimes. I think that's what happened with Mofield here. As we jump back to live action now. And we are on board. Get more of our GTP battles here. This is Dalton Fredericks and Ben Rose here side by side. This is the battle for 4th currently. And,
Yeah, remember when Bailey Petrowski had gotten shuffled to the back? He was behind these guys for a minute.
Yes.
Well, he's 2 seconds up the road in front of them, but now these two are just about side by side at every corner as they navigate traffic.
Cheers. We've got Rose in that red, white, and black number 5 machine, and then Dalton Frederickson to 19 directly behind.
Yeah, I was wondering with Ben Rose, so of course he was one of our top competitors a year ago in this class, started out the season in the Cadillac, as we've got one of our cars. Yes, that's Cook, who's also in a Cadillac. He's also missing a few front wheels on that Cadillac because he may have nosed into the fountain. Yeah, a quick replay of that coming down into turn 1. He just doesn't quite make the left, and into the barrier he goes. So I was gonna say Ben Rose in the Porsche here now after being for a couple races in the Cadillac. So you mentioned at the start one of those changes.
Yeah.
Ben Rose, one of the faster drivers in the class, has changed platforms. And that's Polycui Grant. He's parked behind the wall.
Wow, and that big change there. And
here's the replay.
Let's take a look and see what happened to him.
He just loses it and ends up parking it. He's probably trying to get the car turned around.
And it looks like he just decided that was enough. Larry just got word from Race Control. Peter Porzachek receiving a drive-through penalty for his incident with Bill Mulfield.
Okay.
And, that was the incident that we saw that took out Sterling as well.
Makes sense.
And so, of course, Jeff served that.
More replays. This time it's Ryan Reisman. We can even see a view of him during the replay. Watch his facial expression. That does not look like he's happy. Yeah. Did not give him the year number 1 wave, so we appreciate that. Not sure these replays are screened for driver gestures.
We should. So Larry, I think we should mention when we before we actually, I guess it was during the track guide, we were following a particular driver who also has a camera on him. I won't mention who he is, but he had an issue on a lap, got into the wall, and the next thing he thought to do was look up at the camera and go, "Oh, my bad."
Realizing, wave to the camera, "Hi, Mom." He was on TV.
He was on TV. Well, and luckily for him, he wasn't at the time. And we will be happy to maintain his anonymity here tonight, unless he does it again.
All right. Well, we're on board. We're watching now. Elias Alavi, he's currently running, I believe it's 8th, trying to keep up with Jordan Butler right there in front of him for the 7th spot. That's a lot of car to take around that fountain.
It is. You know, and again, I'm just amazed that they all made it through there on the opening lap, because you have those quick switchbacks. Oh,
as he just rubbed the wall coming around that corner.
Oh, it looks like one of our GT3 cars might have done it a little bit behind him as well. Yeah, I mean, just the weight transfer that you need to have in these cars at a slow speed and on cold tires on the opening laps. Again, totally amazed that they were able to make it through here. As we see here, another view coming through that corner and or coming through the hairpin and onto the front straight and onto Shoreline Drive. Now we'll get to see from the rear out what it looks like coming down on the braking in the water.
Yeah, and let's see what kind of draft Dalton Fredericks get. Not quite enough. I'm actually kind of surprised that there isn't more draft for Fredericks behind Rose as they come around that fountain through that turn 2 and 3. This little 90 at 4 to get around 5, and just the bumps. You just watch the cars bounce and bounce around everyone.
And you saw there, Fredericks almost clipped the wall there, that one where it juts out on driver's left just as you come out of the fountain, as he was trying to straight line turn 4 and almost paid the price for it.
There's Bobby Childs in a little scrap here with Jonathan Bass right in front of him, and a GT3, one of Bobby's B2D teammates there, Chris Thorman. guys make their way on past Chris. Bobby currently running in 11th. Pick up some spots. I think he started from the nearly back of the grid there in the GTP field.
Yeah, he started off 19th out of 21 cars in GTP, so he's made up. You know, there's been a bit of attrition ahead of him, but he's.
In fact, I think he may have started last because there's a couple of cars that never even took the field. So he's doing a good job considering starting dead last. He's just gonna play the slow and steady wins the race sort of strategy. And
given how he just clouded the wall, Larry, I don't know if that slow and steady strategy is going to play out for him.
It's a lot of precision required for 75 minutes to run 70 laps or so around Long Beach.
He made it 15. So.
Well, he's got an Orion car in Travis Schwenke. He's got to get around here as they come around the fountain. But at the front is the rest of the Orion team. Mike Dam, about a second or so ahead of teammate Leo Jagoda. So one thing about this track, either you destroy the car or you end up with a nice clean 0x race. There really is nothing in between.
And you know, and I was just checking our timing and scoring here, Larry, and that's exactly what I'm looking at. It's down the line, almost everybody is showing is 0x except for everybody who's in the pits. Oh, look at here's Takahashi leading Milan Harris out of the hairpin.
Yep.
Oh my
and
God.
That should be the 62 of, I think it's Brockway in that Ferrari that was right at the front of that train of GTPs who wanted to get by him. Takahashi in the battle with Milan Harris. Just
and
so intimidating.
It is, and Larry, you know, the layout of this track, it's got the actually I'd say almost 3 choke points where if specifically the GTP traffic, if somebody falls a little bit further behind, you know, easy-ish places to make up ground just because of traffic down at the fountain. Coming into turn 4 as well, and then of course down at the hairpin, where things just, especially, you know, if you've got a car that's stuck behind one of the GT3 cars, you know, things are just going to slow down to a ball.
All right, quick replay here of Jonathan Bass as he's trying to go around race leader and may have picked the wrong time to hit the wall. And that's Mike Dam that maybe made it through.
It looks as though he was able to just eke by.
We're going to have to check in with Mike Dam and see if that pace continues or if he suffered any damage, if there was contact.
He's singing some kind of song in his car right now.
I know John Mellencamp's an American, but he can be hurt so good. Well, we'll keep our eye on that. Of course, Jagoda does move up a little closer to now just 7/10 back from teammate Dam. But some of that might have just been Dam checking up as the car was hitting the wall in front of him. But really going to keep our eyes on these guys with Ken Copeland and Travis Schwenke. Copeland currently 5th, Schwenke 4th. Just about 7 seconds back from the overall lead. That is not insurmountable, considering the way things are going to go up and down a night like this. What was it? It was Marlon Jones. They just had made their way around. I think he maybe having car troubles there in his GTP.
And we just saw there, Larry, as they came through turn 5 and head on the West Shoreline Drive, where that curbing really opens up to the inside to driver's right, and there's such a tendency there to try and open up that corner all the way.
Yeah.
But it throws you over the backside of the curbing, usually over the apex curbing, and really unsettles the car on exit. And I think that's probably what we're seeing with a lot of the cars that are spinning out over there. And there's Bobby Childs.
Bobby.
And he has now been in his pit stall for about 40 seconds. And look at the parking lot, or the pick and pull. Maybe that's why Bobby's there. He's trying to get parts off the cars ahead of him or something.
Perhaps his BMW needs a couple of parts. You know, BMW parts are never known to be cheap, so he's going to try and get a few. That's unfortunate for Bobby. Good strategy to try and just work your way through and stay clean, and it's just so tough around this place. Fernando Takahashi.
And Larry, getting word that there's a car that is see if it's still here, but there's a car stopped, drivers left right by the hairpin. As we're coming into view now.
I don't see anything now.
Yeah, it looks like it has been removed.
Takashi, though, still in the battle with Harris for 4th.
I think that might have been the impatience that was over there. All right, let's jump over to some GT3 traffic here. We're going to jump over to Michael Brooks, who's currently running 3rd in Pro, and you can see there he's tracked down Leo Dragotta in this battle for 2nd.
And remember, Dragotta closed up a little bit on Mike Dam, and Dam had to check up with the GTP car spinning in front of him. So all 3 of these now really starting to come together. But look at that, how much quicker that Lamborghini is right now of Michael Brooks. He really is. I wonder if he's going to be able to take advantage of this and maybe do some fuel savings. But he looks noticeably quicker through a couple of spots than Dragotta and the Orion Audi there in front of him. I see smoke around the corner.
Yes.
Oh boy. We're wondering if that's Polikui Grant, the T2D driver, that may have been the one parked there. We'll get a replay on that in just a second, I'm sure. But our leaders in GT3s made it through. Let's catch this replay. That is Polikui Grant.
Grant, yeah.
Number 71. And is it the same? Is it the high-speed entry? He gets a little back kick and catches curb this time.
Yeah. Uh-oh.
Right in front of
And
Brockway.
Larry, we are going to a full course caution.
Wow.
A full course caution, and from the looks of it, I'm wondering if Grant is having an issue. We saw him during his previous incident where he was having trouble getting the car reset. It looks like he's trying to get the car turned around and head around, but this will bring out a virtual caution, actually a full course caution here from our stewards.
So this is interesting. Remember, I mentioned earlier, we did have a full course caution last time we had a World Challenge race here. There's just so much chaos. I think the stewards are probably thinking, let's just get everybody a chance to breathe and settle. But what it's going to do is going to bring some of these races back together, any leads that had separated things. The problem I always see with this is yellows breed yellows. So we got to be very careful on these restarts to make sure that the fields get a nice clean getaway and in a single file around that fountain, because it can be a lot like turn 1, lap 1 all over again.
Yeah, and Larry, this is going to throw the pit strategy off, I think, considerably. For a number of these racers, we were looking at for the GTP cars, they could make it a maximum of about 39 laps, and we're just under halfway through that, and that meant that the pit window ran anywhere from lap 18, which we're hitting right now, all the way up to lap 46. So it's going to extend things out quite a bit. For the GT3 cars, their pit window would have probably started around lap 18 as well. That's not for another 3 laps or so. So probably we'll see a bit of a change there. And
well, this is going to take a couple laps. As I said, we've done this before, because not only with multi-class racing, you have to gather the field, they're then going to split the field so that the GT3s will also get their own start separate from the GTPs. So it's going to be a couple of minutes.
Yeah, so as we get this back underway, a couple notes from this week, Larry, and I think very interesting. This is the first time in the World Challenge for a while that I've seen where we have had some balance of performance adjustments applied to some of our chassis, particularly in the GTP class and with our prototypes, where we saw in the case of the Porsche 963, a weight penalty of 3 kilograms and a slight horsepower reduction. With the Audi, actually, this is, I'm sorry, that's not GTP, this is GT3, I'm sorry. So the Porsche 911, 3 kilograms and a little horsepower reduction. The Audi R8s, which the Orion team are running, about a 2.5% reduction in horsepower, but a 6 kilogram weight penalty as well. And the BMW and the Lamborghini, as well as the Mercedes, got a small horsepower reduction as well. I think the car that they're looking at is more or less the standard bearer to judge all the other cars around is the Ferrari, which is the only one that did not have any type of adjustment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very, very interesting as they try to continue to level the field. And maybe it's working. Got a couple of Audis and a Lamborghini right there running 1, 2, 3 prior to the yellow coming out. We've seen the Mercedes have their day, so maybe the stewards have it right.
Yeah. And in GTP, we did have some adjustments, but it actually came down to how much fuel the cars could carry. The ARX-06, which apparently was the most fuel efficient of the bunch, was only able to run a 98% full tank here this evening, and the Porsche 963 is 97%. The Cadillac's 99%, while the BMW was kept status quo at 100%. And we can see now a lot of our drivers are deciding to take these early pit stops here under full course caution, and a good portion of the GTP field have come in. Ben Rose, Jordan Butler, Ryan Reisman, Fernando Takahashi, all taking their pit stops now. And in GT3, we're seeing, let's see here.
I suspect with it, well, we're now on race lap 20. That's the GTPs. The GT3s are only on lap
2 laps.
Yeah, they're just on lap 18 now, which kind of is the start of there. So don't be surprised if still under yellow the next time by the GT3s start to come in and get their fuel stops done, which means there may not be any more fuel stops for the rest of the way if this works out for these guys.
A very opportune time for them. Yeah, at the moment, none of the GT3 cars that have not been involved with incidents already have come down the pit. All right, so let's do this. Let's give it another lap or two, and we'll see here. You know, I'm trying to decide, Larry, whether or not we should take an early break now, a little bit earlier than normal.
Wondering if we should, because I think we're going to have another lap, couple laps here for them to sort things out. I think we can get our break done, come on back, just in time for the restart.
Yep, sounds good. Let's do that, Larry. Let's take that break. And so let's thank some of our partners and sponsors. We'll come back to you here and hopefully have nothing but green flag racing to the end. You're watching the Extreme Motorsports Ricmotech World Challenge. It's round number 3 from the Long Beach Street Course, presented by the SCCA Foundation and Buttkicker here on Apex Racing TV. We'll be right back.
Ricmotech, high-performance sim racing equipment. Whether you're just looking to have fun, train for race day, or become a serious esports competitor, Ricmotech has you covered. Hundreds of name brand parts. Support from experts that love sim racing. Trusted by the pros. There's only one place to go, Ricmotech.com.
The SCCA Foundation is a 501c3 organization serving as the charitable arm of the Sports Car Club of America. One of the programs partially funded by the foundation is the SCCA Academy, an online learning management system used to keep real-life racing track officials up to date on the highest standards of race safety and officiating. Through this program, the SCCA Foundation is supporting the future of the best-trained corner workers and event officials in motorsport. You can support these efforts at www.sccafoundation.org. The search is over. The most comprehensive league scoring solution is here, with the ability for multi-level championships, custom incident tracking, post-race time penalties, support for heats, drop weeks display, multi-car team scoring, advanced web widgets, rookie championships, a custom paint system, and load those results in seconds. Visit extremescoring.info today.
Ricmotech, high-performance sim racing equipment. There's only one place to go, ricmotech.com.
And welcome back to Long Beach, everybody, for round number 3 of the Extreme Motorsports Ricmotech World Challenge, presented by SCCA Foundation and Buttkicker here on Apex Racing TV. And guess what? We're still under full force caution here, Larry, as they are now trying to wave our GT3 drivers around. And I think some of the confusion here, our stewards are not confused, but I think some of the issues here is that with such a large contingent of our GTP field taking their pit stops, it really, we're showing some drivers that are a lap down in GTP, for example, and then the GT3 cars got stuck right in the middle of it all.
Yeah, so it's a lot of coordination. Again, we got a big field tonight. 52 cars actually signed into the session. We're still operating with about 47 or so of them, maybe 45 of them, depending on how many of them make it back out from this period. But that's a lot of cars to manage, and what they're trying to do is try to gather the GT3s in the right order behind the leader at the point the flag came out, which was Mike Dam, and then get them separate start from the GTPs and Tanner Dibble, who was the leader prior to the flag coming out. So as we get this all sorted out, what we are going to see is a direct shootout here for 45 minutes with Mike Dam, Leo Jagoda, Brooks, Schwenke, Thorman, and then we've actually got, I think you got, it says Patient and Beaver 1-2.
In AM, yeah, we've got Patience and I think Brown.
Alex Brown.
Aaron Beaver just came down the pit lane.
Yes.
As his pit window's opening, and there you go. And it looks like he may be taking some tires too. But he is the first driver to head onto the pit lane, and this may be a very, given how long this caution period has lasted, this may still be a pretty savvy move by him.
I think it is, because again, the calculations we were given, again, their estimates in terms of our notes, said that the GT3 pit window should start around lap 18. Well, they're on lap 20 now for these guys, so theoretically they're past their opportunity, past the opening of their opportunity. So if you're in a GT3, you could come in, and the stewards have said they can. Not all of them have. So yes, it'll be very interesting for Aaron Beaver as one of our competitors there in the AM category to have a shot at this. But just looking at where the battles are going to be, I mentioned the Dam, Dragoda, Michael Brooks at the front with Schwenke and Thorman, those top 5. And then you're going to have Ian Patience, Alex Brown currently, and then Josh Vidal, I think, in there.
And Larry, here comes Mike Dam and Leo Dragoda come down the pit lane for service, and some more of our GTP drivers are doing so as well. Fredericks has come down the pit lane. Harris, Ryan Reisman in his Cadillac as well. They have come in, and looks like Travis Schwenke now the third of the Orion racers now on the pit lane, and now a number of our
I'm wondering about Ryan Reisman, that we've got the shot on there. He's missing the tail end of his car, and the look in his face was a bit of a disappointment. So not sure what happened there, but Reisman does not look content with his current situation. The other thing was when the 2 Orion cars, Dam and Dragoda, came in, Dragoda appeared to pop up on the jacks to take tires. I did not see Mike Dam's car go up, but we don't always see everything. It would be interesting if they'd be on different strategies.
Well, and I think they are very much so. Mike Dam was in the box for 5 fewer seconds than Leo Dragoda was. Big difference there. And so we'll see how things play out. But, with the 1 GT3 machine that came down early.
There's your replay, by the way, of Ryan Reisman getting a bit of a bumper to bumper, a little bit of a fender bender there under yellow, and that's why he had to go in and get his repair. He is not thrilled about it, and I can understand why for sure.
So, we'll see how things, obviously, I would be very upset with that as the accordion got played by somebody right behind him. But, Aaron Beaver, the first to come down the pit lane, Larry, that may be, he's still got quite a bit of traffic ahead of him.
We'll let this all sort itself out. Again, we're not quite going back to green yet, but when we do, some of the drivers, a good number of them, are going to have their fuel stops done, and some won't. And I do question why you wouldn't take the opportunity now while traffic's moving along at yellow pace to come in and get that fuel. But there's Schwenke, there's Thorman.
And Schwenke might have been getting some repairs also, Larry. Schwenke's been sitting on the pit lane now for a little bit under 2 minutes.
Oh, yeah, it could be.
Same for Thorman, same for Brown.
Very interesting, those three, as Schwenke and Thorman had been running in the top 5 there, I believe, in the class, but that is no longer the case.
Looks like they are now getting back underway.
And now they'll start sorting out the GTPs separated from the GT3s. Schwenke, he is. I mentioned getting underway. Oh, this is the replay of Schwenke coming around that hairpin and then heading in. But he's on his way out now.
And you can see there with Thorman directly behind, but the pit stop was almost 2 minutes in length.
Yeah. Brooks. So it says here on the timing board, Jeff Jacobs currently leading. Michael Brooks comes back out in second. Copeland and then Dam and Dragotta. This will be interesting. Brooks's stop was very short. About 9 seconds compared to 15 seconds for everybody else, or even longer for some.
Although, interestingly enough, Larry, 3 drivers have not come down the pit lane that are now sitting at the top of GT3. Keith Stein, and this is his very first, we need to get him to sing a Canadian song. This is his first week here with us on the World Challenge. Driver number 48, Lee Reganey, Greg Brockway, and John Casey as well. And they are showing as being in the top 3 currently in GT3, ahead of our pro drivers, ahead of Jacobs, Brooks, and Tobin.
Well, good news. I saw his name there pop up on the chat. It's Bobby Childs has resumed into the race. Remember, he had that issue and had to stop for a little bit. He is back out there after a couple of minutes of repairs. So we think it's going to be Dibble, Petrowski, Alavi, Rose, and Butler, probably, as I don't know if they've all stopped. I don't think.
It looks like we're in danger of more collision, more bodywork being done. Is Tim Cox, one of our fellow Apex Racing TV announcers, says that the track is turning into the long beep rather than Long Beach for some of these drivers.
Oh, Tim. Well, you know, maybe tonight we should have had Tim in the commentary booth. I don't know.
Oh my gosh. Well, you know, there's still time. Larry, we could check out for a while. Turn things over to the A team.
This is it's interesting. We are now somewhere around, what are we, about 6 laps? I think we're on lap 18 when this all started. We're on lap 24 now. So 6 laps of this. These things are still getting sorted out. A couple of drivers still in the pits. Ian Patience is one of them. He was. As well as Ryan Reisman, I think 5 minutes in. I'm not sure he's still waiting for repairs. He may have called it a night. He's still there, you can see. Not thrilled with how these things are going for him, for sure.
Looks like Ryan's he's come to grips with the fact that he's going to be there a while.
Yeah. That carbon fiber bill is not cheap. All right, so we will see how this shakes out and see if everyone has pit. I know my timing tower with 52 cars on it is going crazy right now. We'll see if Dibble and Petrowski and the lobby did actually pit or not. I'm not showing any evidence of one. I just got Ben Rose, Jordan Butler, and Fernando Takahashi, the top 3 who have stopped. We're still sorting out things. Who should be in what order? Still see Dre Divock up there in the third in line in that train, as you've got Dibble in the 963
Yeah, and I'm sure Divock doesn't really care where Divock right now is about 10 laps down, so yeah. I'm sure he if he loops around one more time, really isn't going to make much of a difference for him.
Well, what's interesting is you've got Dibble, who I do believe is the race leader. You can see him there in the 963. Right behind him on track, I believe, is Marlon Jones, a lap down.
Yes.
And then you got Dre Divock, who is 12 laps down on the overall race lead. So there's a lot of traffic that would have to kind of get through. That's certainly right now separating Dibble, and here comes some more wave bys, but separating Dibble from Petrowski, Alabi, and his prime rivals there.
All right, so now what they're doing is, now that everybody's been through the pit cycle, I think that's going to go through the pit cycle, they are now waving the GTP cars ahead of the GT3s.
Okay, and it looks like probably leaving the lap traffic, including, as I mentioned, Marlon Jones, in between Dibble in the lead and Petrowski, who I think is currently fourth in that line, and the third car in that line.
The Halabi, I think, is the third car in the line. But yeah, it looks like they're not going to be changing the order. Otherwise, we'll probably be here all evening long.
Yeah.
Or at least for another 30 minutes or so.
Keith Stein looks like he's in the pits.
His Lamborghini, and he pitted in from 4th and AM.
Well, yeah, if this all sorts out, it does look like Jeff Jacobs is your GT3 leader in GT3 Pro right now.
Pro leader. He's got 3 AM drivers ahead of him.
Yeah.
Or 3. Let's be more specific. 3 AM drivers on the same lap physically in front of him. Is that?
It looks like Greg Brockway, John Casey, the teammates there, and then Ilya Spiker. Yep. And Spiker looks like has stopped, but Brockway and Casey have not, from my scoreboard here, which will put them at risk from having to stop at some point, which means Ilya Spiker is sort of the pseudo leader of this race, being the first of all the ones that have made a pit stop. So yeah, it's going to be interesting because behind Jacobs, Michael Brooks, Ken Copeland, Mike Dam, Leo Jagoda, Travis Schwenke.
Oh, and one of our GTP drivers has gone around. Saw him spin out there, the light blue car.
Oh no, Fernando Takahashi. And he's going to do what he can to get himself back out of this thing, full Austin Powers style. And he might just get out of it. This place is so narrow in points, even down here.
Hairpin was hard.
Even down here along, I believe this is down along Seaside Way.
Yeah.
Between turn 8 and turn 9.
Here we go.
A little bit of a wrinkle in the front of that car too. His teammate, Bill Mofield, I think right behind him.
And so, Larry, we'll have to see what happens now, because Jeff Jacobs, I think with all that mix-up, and I saw the yellow BMW of Jacobs right there. Jacobs now, okay. He had actually gone ahead of Brockway, Casey, and Spiker, and I think that was just in trying to avoid carnage when everything came to a complete stop there. I saw him all the way to both drivers right. Yeah, he's fallen back into fourth in position on the GT3 machines. So for those of you just joining us here at Long Beach, welcome, and we are under full course caution, hopefully not very much longer, as we are now entering, I think, lap number 8 under full course caution.
Yeah, now the clock continues. Again, we're a timed race. We're not a fixed number of laps, as we always are here in this series and most of our series in the Ricmotech. But we are coming up at the end of the 40. We're just past 44 minutes out of 75, so we're going to be 30 minutes left. I'll tell you, if you didn't stop for fuel, you might be regretting that decision, because they all should have enough fuel on board to go more than 30 minutes to finish this race.
Yes.
So we're going to be basically a full-on sprint in every one of our classes for the end of this thing, and you'd want to have enough fuel on board. You're not going to want to have to come in and take that exceptional penalty to get your fuel later on.
All right, so Larry, Greg Brockway and John Casey have now come down the pit lane, and they are taking their pit stops now, which is going to drop them obviously much further back. Oddly enough, Aaron Beaver was on the pit lane as well. And again, Beaver was the very first driver to come down the pit lane. He's now showing 8th in AM.
We'll see how that sorts out. As again, they're continuing to do the wave buys. That's what you're looking at right there with the Lamborghini getting the point past the overall race leader.
Yeah, and so we have one of the folks in the YouTube chat, Larry, asking how long is this yellow period going to last? And unfortunately, we don't. Well, yeah, we're as clueless as you are.
Yeah.
This certainly, I think, complicated things when the drivers started coming down the pit lane for their
which is
stops.
interesting that the stewards are giving the opportunity for the drivers to do that. Honestly, they didn't have to. There's nothing in, I don't believe, in the regulations that they have to do that. They could have just called the yellow, gathered the field, and sent them along their way,
right?
And let the pits sort themselves out. But this is in the league that they try to do the spirit of competition. And they don't want anyone to get an advantage by being able to time their pit stop while everyone else doesn't. So that's, I think, why they do this. Now it looks like, as you can see on the screen, we are starting to sort of just the GT3s in their lane and separated from the GTPs. That's a good sign, because that's like the last step before we go green, is to get all the like cars in a line so they can restart together without intermixing. There's Mike Dam, who was the race leader when this all got started in the GT3 ranks. Teammate Leo Dragotta in the 118 right behind him. And they had, I believe, it was a Michael Brooks that was running third at the time, who's now in front of them.
Second, and Ken Copeland managed to leapfrog the two Orion racers as well. There's Copeland with the green and black and red Wrong Stuff Mercedes directly behind Michael Brooks in the Wrong Stuff Lamborghini. I think we are, Larry, getting close. Look at this as the group here behind the pace car. We can see, how long this line of 50. We're looking at 50 plus cars now.
Well, I just got word that the pace car needs to make a fuel stop.
Well, they didn't use the Mustang car, the Mustang pace car, so we might be okay. Although I heard that Dean Dibdahl is driving the Porsche pace car. It might need front tires.
Well, let's see if this ends up being it, but it looks like a nice, clean, solid row of cars. It is Tanner Dibble leading the way. I don't believe he's taken a fuel stop yet. That can make things interesting. Behind him on track, Marlon Jones. Third car in the train.
Third, we have his is that I'm
not sure.
It's Halabi. I mean, Halabi's showing third overall, but I don't think he's third in the train. I think we've got another lapped car possibly. Although
there's a couple of lap cars, because it should be Petrowski and then Halabi, and they're currently 4th and 6th in the lineup of cars. So there's definitely some others that are in between there. I don't know if it's Porzachak. I don't know who it is, but what we're going to see here is you can see Bobby Childs in that row. I believe he's right behind his teammate Bailey Petrowski in that row.
So the ones that we ought to be looking at, Larry, and we're coming down on them now. I think that right behind Bobby is the 5 machine of Ben Rhodes. Because Ben has the ability here. Once some of once the drivers ahead of him on track peel off, that should move him up to the lead.
Yeah. So here's the other side of this about those who maybe didn't stop and maybe why. Fuel strategies, GTPs can run about 46 laps on a full tank of fuel, which is about 50 more minutes of runtime. Well, 54 minutes of runtime means we went, about 30 minutes before we stopped here, and then we've been slow for about 20, which puts you pretty close to a total of 54 minutes out of the 75 that they'd be green flag. It's going to be close for these GTPs. They might make it.
They might actually make it to the end. All right, sounds like, Larry, we might be going back to green flag racing this next time by, as either the next time or the lap afterwards, as it sounds like race control was giving giving the information.
Yep.
There you go. Lights are out on the pace car. We're on the safety car. So looks like we are going to be going back here, and that is going to give us about a 25-minute run to the checkered flag.
All right, somebody wake up Mad Denker from the chat, because you know, the race is going to come back to green. He was the one asking, how long is this yellow going to be? The answer might be a couple more corners, and then we'll go green for what looks like. Let's see, we're going to be about 25 minutes exactly of green flag when this thing goes.
And nobody shoot the messenger, but please don't let this be like a real IMSA race where we'll get to the fountain before we have to blow another caution.
Oh, I thought you were going to say that they're going to throw the checker with 73 minutes instead of 75.
Minutes. There's a possibility of that.
Too soon? Too soon. All right, so
actually, I think we used up our share of those jokes last round. Yeah,
we hit the full quota at Daytona. All right, so round turn 10 for race leader Tanner Dibble. And then through the hairpin, and then we'll wait for green. The stewards make the call, not the sim.
All right, pace car is on the pit lane, and can't race until the green flag is displayed or given to the drivers by our real-life starter. And they're coming down, and there you go. Green flag is in the air. No passing, I believe, until you get to the finish line. So that might have been pretty darn close, as I think I believe that was Bobby Childs trying to get around some of the other lap traffic.
Bailey Petrowski.
Oh,
it's Petrowski. Yes, and it looked like somebody yielded for him, so that helped him a little bit. Not necessarily a straight pass, but the car pulled aside. Still too wide at the back of the field here of these GTPs. They go around the fountain for the first time since resuming. That's Fernando Takahashi, who we saw having a couple of issues under yellow as the GT3s.
Ben Rhodes had a little bit of contact.
Oh, no!
And
that's a lot. Yeah, that's a whole lot of backing up. I saw some rear ending going on into the fountain. That's Jeff Jacobs trying to get around some of this stuff. That's Michael Brooks trying to get through this field.
Larry, and I saw one of the Orion Audis go up with the rear end, just fly up into the air. I think that was Schwenke. I believe that as he was the third one in that line. We'll see here. Looks like coming out of turn 8 onto Seaside Way. We had a car spun around.
Well, there's Schwenke. Right, he is down the order a little bit, but he also spent some time in the pits during the whole exchange. So we'll see if that's him there or not. That's Ilya Spiker there in the Porsche.
And I'm still showing Dam and Dragotta in the same positions that they were.
And there's Dragotta right behind the 47 on track. That's Daniel Krim in the Mercedes that Dragotta's trying to get around in that black and orange Mercedes.
One of the other Audis with a really late move, and I think that might have been Ian Patience in the 21 machine. Came very deep down into turn 1.
Well, there goes Brooks. Brooks for the race lead in GT3 Pro. Right behind him, teammate Copeland. See how these guys do going into the fountain section here.
All right, so they have both gotten around the yellow BMW of Jeff Jacobs in the SCCA Foundation machine, so that moves him down to third. But that green and white number 86, green, black, and white 86 Porsche, that is Spiker just up ahead. He is currently your GT3 leader.
Yep. Leading AM and leading overall for the moment. But I tell you, the Wrong Stuff team wants to take him down as we flash back to Fernando Takahashi. Always entertaining as he's right in the middle of the mix here as they come around that sweeper at 10. Oh, the fender
brake lockup.
Oh, the accordions down there. It is a polka city. There's so many accordions.
Oh my! And you see how almost all of these GTP cars, they are just lighting up that inside rear tire coming out of the hairpin. And there you go, getting around Takahashi now is Jordan Butler.
And that looks like some maybe damage for Takahashi as well. Let's take a look at how the battle with Michael Brooks and Ken Copeland is doing, as they're still behind Ilya Spiker in the Porsche, coming up on the 712 that they're trying to pass. And that is Dave Killa. David in the Porsche, one of our new entries here.
Get around that machine. So like Spiker. He's doing what he can to hold off these two veterans in the series directly behind him. Now, Spiker has, besides Brooks and Copeland, he's got Jacobs, Damon, and Dragotta, all pro drivers between he and the next AM driver, which is Alex Brown in the number 67 Ferrari. So he can spare a couple positions. But as we've mentioned before, Larry, you are awarded points on where you finish in the overall GT3 field.
That's correct.
Not just in your category.
That is correct. Well, there goes Mike Dam around Jeff Jacobs, who had led the train kind of as the thing went green. And he led the race up until the yellow came out. So Dan may be feeling a little bit slighted here that all this happened really as a result of different pit times within the yellow window. So he might be a bit angry. He's usually too nice to be angry, but he may be a little bit disturbed and wanting to get back at the front of the field here. He's got a lot of work to do. He's still now a couple seconds, but right now nobody between he and Ken Copeland. Just a whole lot of Long Beach pavement as they're side by side into one.
And this is Halabi and directly behind Halabi.
Yep.
Okay.
We flash back. Yep, and it does look like Spiker does get passed by Brooks. So now Brooks has Spiker between he and teammate Copeland. And look at that, Mike Dam is closed up all the way. Just look at, he'll be popping around turn 5. There he is in the Audi. Down the inside is Copeland. He's going to go back to second spot overall.
And now
here comes Mike Dam.
By Dam. Yeah, look by Copeland. And Dam trying to sneak up the inside, coming out of turn 6.
Yeah, he's going to get the run here, though. Yeah, he'll get the run down the Seaside Way, and he might get a nose ahead before they get up to turn 9. He just might. A little bit of lift helps him from Spiker.
So Spiker went and conceded position there.
Oh, and that is not conceding. That's to wall, not giving anything. Who was that? It was one of the Audis hit that wall
I
hard.
think that might have been Leo Dragotta, possibly, Larry.
I don't think it was. No, he's still in the background shot there.
Okay.
So we'll have to see who that was.
I mean, that narrows it down to Patience, Schwenke, and Jeff Brooks.
I wonder if it is Jeff Brooks. I do wonder if that was Jeff Brooks. We'll catch up with that in a little bit. And Bailey Petrowski is in with damage. Oh no.
Of it.
So
All right,
your round 2 winner. Let's see how this happened. Is this self-induced? Coming down here between turn 6 into turn 8. And just,
no.
That is not self-induced. That is a log jam in the truest sense. And for Bailey, he's just a victim. And you can't see it. You come down the hill there. Oh. As he's sharing the pits with Daniel Prim in that Mercedes, who's already in that pit box.
Let's see, Larry, and see, because there were a number of drivers that were involved with that. It looks like Korzachek is in the pits now.
All right, so yeah, let's take a look at these replays. This might be...
That's John Casey
Stein
leading.
Is that Stein behind Casey goes in? Who's the Mercedes backwards? Was that Krim? No, it couldn't be Krim. That was too recent. No. Or is it Josh Fidel? No, he's been in the pits for a while.
No.
It's Aaron Beaver. It's Beaver and in the 97 and Josh Fidel in the 26. Yes, it is.
Yeah. And Casey somehow snuck through before all the GTP traffic showed up.
Wow. But unfortunately for your round 2 race winner, Bailey Petrowski, that might just take him out of this as he's in for some extensive repairs. Whew. Well, Tanner Dibble, maybe dodging bullets.
I was going to say, Tanner Dibble and Elias Halabi now sitting 1-2 and a pretty big advantage. We're watching Halabi right now with Ben Rose chasing him down. But
now remember, I don't see a lobby with a pit stop on the board here. Ben Rose does, so I'm wondering if a lobby's being conservative to make this to the end on fuel. We got about 11 minutes, or sorry, about 16 minutes to go to the end here, and so I don't know what his thoughts are. For Rose, he may be thinking this is opportunity, knowing Petrowski is out of this race. You know, already talked about Shane Larson round 1. We're going to have a new race winner here in GTP at this point. So unless something crazy happens, so maybe Rose is thinking it's his night.
Yeah, and you know, at the moment here with Dibble with a 7.5 second advantage, which is now even with this traffic has gone down by almost half a second just in a few moments here.
It's going down 2 seconds in the last lap.
So Dibble is likely in that fuel saving mode as well. He's got a couple seconds to give, but you know, we'll see how things play out if he can hold off Rose for 16 minutes.
Still go to the lap deltas, and some of that is just traffic. 3 seconds one way, 3 seconds the other way. It is just traffic. But the you know, we're keeping an eye on Olabi and Rose. That's the battle right now for second as they try to work maybe together, maybe against each other to try and chase down Tanner Dibble. As we are now on board with Dibble, and he is right behind Ken Copeland. And of course Copeland behind race leader in GT3 Michael Brooks. So here are your respective leaders. Brooks, and then Copeland, and then Dibble. As Dibble goes blasting by Copeland. So much speed. So much speed.
I mean, we've seen a lot of issues where the GTP cars have had to go deep into turn 1 to the inside and very much offline and haven't been able to keep the rear underneath them. But he does there with a little drama there. As we can see this fight as Mike Dam is still in the thick of it as everybody closes back up in GT3 coming into the foul.
Yeah, Mike Dam not giving up yet. Again, ran to the lead of this race relatively comfortably. Had some things to avoid in his run during the first portion of this race. Now he's kind of worked from behind.
And he should mention that that's Dam, you know, as we're watching this group here, Dam did manage to get around Ilya Spiker, so Spiker's still sitting 4th in GT3, but a pretty distant 4th at this point. Holding up
Yeah, I see in the chat Pan here today is joining us. Jump back in and race anytime he wants. Doesn't have to just be in the chat. But look at this. Look at this. Again, the accordion. Weird Al would be proud of that accordion work coming around that hairpin. Somebody's got to learn this.
Yes, Weird Al's an accordion player. That's right.
Hey, you know, there's a lot of accordion playing Yankovics out there. Weird Al is just one of them. All right, so this is, we're getting a good shot here of Michael Brooks in that Lamborghini. Ken Copeland in the Mercedes behind. Mike Dam in the Audi behind. Those are your front 3.
You know, and he doesn't have a lot of traffic ahead of him looks like for a while. Right?
It's coming up behind him as it looks like some GTPs working their way through. Maybe that's I'm not sure. I don't want to even try and speculate on who that is.
Well, I was going to say that's the 16 of Schwenke up ahead of Michael Brooks.
Jagoda making his way around turn 10, heading into 11.
Yeah, and just managed to get around Spiker, so Spiker now falls back to 5th in GT3, and that gap between he and Alex Brown for the lead in GTP is starting to come down as well, Larry.
Well, there's Eliza Lobby just ahead of Schwenke now. Lobby running 2nd overall, now 18 seconds behind Tanner Dibble.
And with Ben Rose right behind the Audi.
Yeah, so Dibble doing a great job of managing traffic here. I'll tell you that's what that's all about. But these two in a pretty close battle between Lobby and Rose. Rose now getting rid of the traffic there.
Yeah, but Larry, probably the saving grace for Halabi is Ben Rose. We saw this fight very early on between he and Jordan Butler, and Butler's right there again. And that may have stunted Rose's attack on Halabi even just a little bit, that he's got to look from behind now. And Dalton Frederick's not that far back either. He's got a couple GT3 cars between he and Rose and Butler.
Yeah, this is all for second place. Lobby, Rose, Butler, Fredericks, the 4 of them trying to get up there in second place because Tanner Dibble has got a pretty good stranglehold in this thing from the front, just like he did before the yellow came out. He's got that back end with no rival in Petrowski right now. Dibble's got to go about 11 more minutes to win this thing, so we'll keep our eye on that as we flash back to our GT3 battle. It is still just chaos.
Yeah, and so there's Alex Brown in the red Ferrari right behind Jeff Jacobs' yellow and blue BMW, and the Brown is currently running second in AM to this Porsche, now coming under braking into turn 1, so he is definitely starting to close things down.
Yeah, and that Porsche's got a little wrinkle in that front. Like, he's rubbed a couple of walls, has Spiker, but a great debut for him tonight, having at one point led all of GT3, still leading GT3 AM by, as you mentioned, it's not by much, it's just a couple seconds here. He's got some people between, with Jeff Jacobs between Alex Brown in second and Spiker in first. But a good run so far. He's got 10 minutes left to try and get a win in class here at Long Beach. Also want to mention Steiner and Caffrey running their third and fourth. The Aussies doing a pretty good job here in GT3 AM tonight as well. And then might as well shout out to Mark Schandell, who we talked to in the opening before the green flag dropped. He's got himself up into 5th right now. Just nobody really close to him. If anything, he's catching on the battle for 3rd or for 4th.
For 4th, yeah.
Yeah. Keep our eye on him as we're on board with Steiner in the BMW. Right behind Alex Brown. And that's the battle for 2nd and 3rd, as the 2 of them are trying to chase Ilya Spiker for the lead. So not anything decided yet. Still about 9 minutes to go. GT3 AM still contention. That's Mike Dam.
And
trying to chase down.
Larry, here we go. Ben Rose is caught back up to Elias Halabi now, and he is going to move Halabi down as Halabi, has trouble getting power down out of the hairpin. Halabi now running 3rd, and Jordan Butler's in the Acura. He's right there as well.
Dalton Fredericks right behind him. So now, Ben Rose, great job to get on by, and he's put about a second or so between he and Halabi, but now Halabi's got to worry about Butler, and Butler says bye as he goes on by, and Fredericks is thinking, hey, what about me?
And remember, Halabi has not been on the pit lane, and it could very well be, Larry, we didn't see, but Halabi obviously is running the tires that he started out with almost 70 minutes ago, and there's a good chance that Rose and Butler and Fredericks are all on newer rubber. As we see here, is Halabi's having far more problems than just fuel saving right now. That car, which is getting awfully light, I'm sure, is having a lot of issues with rear grip.
Yeah, well, he's going to be potentially getting passed here by Dalton Fredericks, who pops out, pops back in. As they go through 9, head to 10. And this is where he had the trouble with Ben Rose a lap ago. Did a lobby to see if Fredericks can capitalize this time. Oh, again, he's locking the brakes up as a lobby, and Fredericks almost runs into the back of him.
Yeah, as Fredericks was right into the gearbox there.
And don't forget, there's another one in play, and that's Fernando Takahashi. Yeah, that blue and white car is right behind him. That is the 6th place Fernando Takahashi. So 3, 4, 5, and 6 are all pretty close on the track here with just about 7 minutes to go.
Yeah, so the Porsche of Halabi definitely starting to look a little wounded here as time is running down, of course. So Butler got around him. So Jordan Butler now running 3rd in GTP. Ben Rose 2nd. Tanner Dibble, again, has not taken a pit stop. But, Larry, look at this. Dibble has increased his lead. What was, obviously at the restart was just a couple of seconds. The last time we really checked in on him was about 7, maybe 8 seconds.
Yep.
It is now almost just about 20 seconds now separating Tanner Dibble from our new 2nd place runner, Ben Rose.
And we're going to keep an eye on that because, again, if we're within about 6 minutes to go, clock says that, we should be about 5 laps to go, maybe 6 laps to see how the things work out. But if Ben Rose thinks he can make this easily by pushing, not to worry about fuel, but Dibble has to worry, and traffic like this, as Dibble has to make his way around the 63, the BMW there, and that could slow him down. Maybe opportunity for Ben Rose to cut into this. We'll have to see.
All right, as Rose comes underneath Alex Brown and is now coming past Jeff Jacobs as they go down East Seaside Way, and we can see from that shot, though, Larry, that Alex Brown still having issues getting around the BMW of Jeff Jacobs, and is given a little bit of clearance now to Ilya Spiker, as Spiker now with about a 3-second advantage over Brown.
We'll keep an eye on that while we go on board with Fernando Takahashi, who's well known as a bit of an aggressive driver. He will take opportunities if presented, and he is pushing Dalton Fredericks, who is probably trying to push Elias Alabi in front of him, but being in the middle of a sandwich, always the toughest place to make a move, because one move you make is a counter move the other way. Takahashi, opportunity and contact.
And there you go, Larry, and we talked about it earlier.
Oh, and that's Brockway.
Brockway
and Casey.
Casey, and here we go.
And the
and
98.
That is the Rockefeller Racing GTP machine. That is, oh my gosh. That's
Mylan Harris.
Yep.
As they're all now on the stewards are directing cars to note that there's nowhere to go coming out of a hairpin. Now it looks clear, but boy, that created a bit of chaos there for a minute. 3 minutes or 4 minutes left on the clock. Just a couple laps. Things are getting a little bit crazy here.
Larry, and you talked about it, Takahashi has never met an opportunity that he has let go by the wayside, and he saw the smallest of openings there. But also, we talked about it, there are 2 lines through that hairpin, and if the driver ahead of you takes that wide set and opens the door, well, you see what can sometimes happen.
Oh, and that looks like unfortunate things happening for Dalton Fredericks as he got into the back of a lobby and then noses into the wall. That's going to open up a lobby, a big gap, but that's going to hurt Fredericks. Luckily for him, Takahashi and Harris had their issues before. And by the way, that 119 parked over there on the side, that's another one of the Dragotas.
That's Lucas Dragota.
Yeah, so a lot of chaos here with just 3.5 minutes to go.
All right, so Dalton Fredericks now manages to get the car to the pit lane. He is in. Takahashi is in as well. We saw John Casey, who had managed to avoid a lot of incidents here this evening, and he now is on the pit lane as well after that tie up at the I-5 or the hairpin.
Well,
the I-5 is a button.
All right, so what's happening here is you got about 3 minutes to go in this race. The front 3 in GT3 Pro are all essentially nose and tail, except for these pesky GTP cars that want to make their way through, one of which might be your race leader, Tanner Dibble. There he is, popping out behind Copeland. Copeland's going to take about 2 seconds of draft before Dibble disappears in the distance.
Yeah, and so Copeland and his teammate, Michael Brooks, your leaders in GT3. And if you take a look at the timing tower right there, about 1.3 seconds separating them.
Yeah, opportunity there for Michael Brooks with that traffic to be able to open up a little bit as it all sort of came together at the hairpin. So he's going to use what he can before Copeland closes back in. Now, Mike Dam also was in between some of that. So Dam, you can see him now a couple car lengths back. Leo Dragota now, as I believe.
Yeah, that's Dragota directly behind Dam. They're the 2 Audis from Orion.
Or is that Travis Schwenke actually a lap down? Yeah, that's Schwenke a lap down behind him. Kind of, you can see him in that number 16. Dragota about 10 seconds back. So no real threat from behind for Mike Dam right now. He's got to just close up the 1.5 seconds that he lost, because right before those GTPs came through, Brooks, Copeland, Dam were essentially touching noses. It sounds weird. Just go with it. And that is separated now, but we'll see how they come out as they go back onto the straightaway. Pretty clean there for Brooks. 2 minutes to go, 1.5 minutes. I don't think we've got anything that looks like a yellow or a white flag coming out. So it should be 2 laps.
Yeah, yep. See it next time.
Or Tim said they might just throw a checker. Just kidding. Just kidding.
Well, you know, Tanner Dibble, if he had any worries about fuel consumption, that would be a great time to throw the checkered flag. But Tanner Dibble right now with a little bit over 1.5 laps remaining with a 20-second advantage over Ben Rose.
I see Robert Schwankler's joined the chat. Another one who's a former regular driver in the series is hanging out in the chat with us tonight. I believe he drove for the wrong stuff and has his opinions about cars stranded on the track. Enjoy that chat discussion. Alex Brown
Still can't find a way around Jeff Jacobs, and Brown can see Spiker's Porsche ahead, just cannot do anything about it.
Yeah, and then of course he's got David Steiner in the 63 BMW behind, so he's kind of surrounded by a couple of BMWs trying to make his way and navigate. And this should be final lap now. Tanner Dibble.
White flag in the air, Larry, and Tanner Dibble working last lap.
23 seconds up.
Yeah, 23. He has not dropped the pace down. As a matter of fact, that last time by, Larry, he was only 0.6 of a second off of his fastest lap of the race. So if he's dialing it back, he's not dialing it back all that much.
No, and sometimes it's better not to. You get out of that rhythm, especially a track like this. You've got to hit your marks. It's all you can focus on. Any different line you take, you hit a different bump and you bang into a wall, and I'm sure Tanner Dibble's thinking about that right now. He would love to be the third different driver in 3 races here at World Challenge GTP to get a victory. It was Shane Larson in round 1, it was Bailey Petrowski in round 2, and Tanner Dibble would like to pencil his name in as the round 3 winner. A couple more corners to go.
Here he comes, only 2 more to go.
One really hard corner and one more straightaway for Tanner Dibble.
All right, and there he goes. He's already starting the weave, Larry. Tanner Dibble, your winner in round 3 for GTP here in the World Challenge. So let's move back over to our GT3 race, where Michael Brooks now maintaining a fairly constant advantage now over his teammate Ken Copeland. The Lamborghini with a bit of an advantage over the Mercedes, and here they go as they come across the line, taking the win in GT3 Pro. Michael Brooks, Ken Copeland will finish 2nd. Mike Dam, we might not hear any karaoke again tonight. Mike Dam finishes in 3rd. And now coming out of the hairpin for the last time with a bold pit strategy, Ilya Spiker takes the win, his very first outing here in the World Challenge, and he is your GT3 AM winner. Alex Brown will finish in 2nd. Dave Steiner will, well, he's still got a little while to go, but we should see Dave Steiner. There he is, coming down the straightaway. He takes 3rd place in GT3 AM. Congratulations to all of our podium finishers.
Crazy race. Unbelievable. This should be a fun set of interviews here with some folks who were trying to get their first win and got it, and some other folks who just show up and the first night they're here, get a win. So let's get a chance to talk to them in a couple minutes.
All right, there you go. So let's take a quick little break. And when we come back, we will talk to some of our podium finishers here at Long Beach, where you've just seen round number 3 of the Extreme Motorsports Ricmotech World Challenge, presented by the SCCA Foundation and Buttkicker. We'll be right back.
The SCCA Foundation is a 501c3 organization serving as the charitable arm of the Sports Car Club of America. One of the programs partially funded by the foundation is the SCCA Academy, an online learning management system used to keep real-life racing track officials up to date on the highest standards of race safety and officiating. Through this program, the SCCA Foundation is supporting the future of the best-trained corner workers and event officials in motorsport. You can support these efforts at www.sccafoundation.org.
Ricmotech high-performance sim racing equipment. Whether you're just looking to have fun, train for race day, or become a serious esports competitor, Ricmotech has you covered. Hundreds of name brand parts. Support from experts that love sim racing. Trusted by the pros. There's only one place to go, Ricmotech.com.
search is over. The most comprehensive league scoring solution is here, with the ability for multi-level championships, custom incident tracking, post-race time penalties, support for heats, drop weeks display, multi-car team scoring, advanced web widgets, rookie championships, a custom paint system, and load those results in seconds. Visit extremescoring.info today.
Ricmotech high-performance sim racing equipment. Hundreds of name brand parts. Expert support. Ricmotech has you covered. There's only one place to go. Ricmotech.com.
Welcome back, everybody, to Long Beach, where we've just seen round number 3 of the Extreme Motorsports Ricmotech World Challenge, and where Ken Copeland is trying to get his car parked. Apparently parking at Long Beach hasn't been that big an issue tonight, but let's go and take a quick look at how we finished up here just a few moments ago, where Tanner Dibble and his teammate Ben Rose finished 1-2, with Jordan Butler, also from DNA, finishing in 3rd in GTP. So they run the table. In GT3 AM, it's Ilya Spiker from Rockefeller Racing in his very first outing here in the World Challenge, taking the win, with Alex Brown from Team Collusion, and then David Steiner from Rockefeller finishing in 3rd. Actually, that's not the Rockefeller, pardon me, that's Dominate Racing, finishing in 3rd in AM. And then our pro category, Michael Brooks taking the win for the wrong stuff. His teammate Ken Copeland finishing 2nd, and then Mike Dam from Orion Racing finishing in 3rd. Easy for me to say. All right, Larry, let's take a look. But before we bring in some of our podium finishers, I wanted to once again thank our partner this season, Buttkicker. Because at the end of season ceremonies, one lucky driver is going to win a Buttkicker Gamer Plus package valued at $279.95. If you want to turn up the immersion in your sim rig, visit thebuttkicker.com for more details. All right, let's go now and take a look. Larry, let's bring in our GT3 AM winner, racing for Rockefeller Racing, and a lot of entries from Rockefeller here for the very first time tonight in World Challenge, but taking the win in GT3 AM, it's Ilya Spiker.
Me too.
All right, so Ilya Spiker, you make your debut and you end up at the front of the field and getting your win in your opening night. That looked like chaos, but first you got to tell me, how you feeling about being a part of the Ricmotech League and getting your first win on opening day?
Really excited. It's Speaker, just as a little correction, but it's all good.
Sorry about that.
No, it's awesome. No, it was great to be involved. Aaron Beaver, we raced with him beforehand and part of RR, so he introduced us to this league, and we got in late last week or middle last week. So really excited for Rockefeller and a couple guys to be joining. I know some of the guys from DNA for a long time, so that's a good. Really excited. I know it was a little chaos there. I wasn't like 3rd when it all went down, so I wasn't in a bad spot when it happened. Just yeah.
There's a lot of chaos out there, obviously, with the nearly 25-minute or whatever it was yellow period there. It seemed like a long time. How do you maintain your composure, and do you even know and all that how it's all going to get sorted out, and how can you even make a strategy when you're just sort of in this chaotic yellow waiting for the green?
Well, when at first yellow went down, I quickly looked and realized I had enough fuel if the yellow went for a little while, so I darted in right away when it first opened up, and then all the chaotic after that, and after that, it was just trying to relax. I knew some pro guys were behind me that'd probably get by me, so it was all, at that point, just trying to run a consistency laps. And again, it's hard for me. I haven't done an IMSA race like this where I've been the GT3 in a long time, so this was a little nerve-wracking for me too, especially at Long Beach.
The other thing is this place is just nerve-wracking. Exactly. Your car, it needs a little bit of a buff. It'll be fine, I think. It's got a little bit of war wounds, but I mean, at the end of the race, the car feeling different because of that. I mean, 75 minutes is a long time to keep a car straight.
Yeah, and then at one point in the last 10, I hit the one side and it definitely threw the car off and was a little bit chaotic at that point. But I felt all right that I could hold at least the spot I was in, just running consistency. But yeah, it wasn't bad. Not too bad.
Yeah, well, awesome drive tonight. Way to come into the league and walk away on night number 1 with that gold medal, first place. Awesome drive, but I'm sure you got some folks you want to thank and give shout out to for helping you get here.
Yeah, again, I'm glad to be here. This league looks awesome. Really excited working with Ricmotech and this group. Yeah, the RR team, Milan Harris, Aaron Bieber, who got us on, John Krum, you'll see next time. Keith, these guys have been racing with these guys for a while, and we have a pretty good group in iracing. So hopefully we'll see more in some of these other leagues that are XMS carries. So it was awesome. Glad to be a part of it. Can't wait to see the broadcast. I know you guys do an awesome job, so really looking forward to it.
And next week we'll get your name pronounced correctly. So, Ilya Speaker, congrats on the win here in GT3.
Unless you don't like the broadcast, and we're just going to mispronounce it for the rest of the season.
Yeah, right. Thank you guys. Awesome job, man.
All right, congrats.
Yeah. All right, there you go, everybody. That's Ilya Speaker, your winner tonight in GT3 AM. Let's move over to our GT3 Pro winner now, Larry, and driving for the wrong stuff, driving his Lamborghini, it's Michael Brooks.
Michael Brooks with this victory tonight. Goodness, what an intense race. It's the tale of two races, the first half before the yellow and the second half after. That sprint, it seemed, after the yellow just looked about as intense of racing that I have seen. How do you maintain composure to come away with this victory?
Well, I mean, Long Beach is a mess, especially with everything that's going on. But I mean, really, it's just following the guy ahead of you and finding whatever mistake they make, capitalizing and getting by. The beginning of the race, I felt like it's all about qualifying. That's where the race is, and then anything that happens afterwards is survival. So I mean, pure luck out of that. I managed to take Mike Dam in the pits during the yellow, and it was history from there.
It's a little more than luck. Clearly you had really good pace down the stretch there, and the skill to be able to pick your way through some of that traffic, because it looked like at one point with maybe 5 minutes to go or so, yourself, Ken right behind you, Mike was right behind him, and you managed to get through that the cleanest and make sure, I don't know if you deliberately kept a couple of GTP cars behind you until you got to the hairpin, but it worked, and they couldn't catch you down the stretch. You had pace.
Yeah, can time it a little bit. Yeah. Shout out to Ken. I feel like he managed really well in that race. That Mercedes is wide and doesn't agree with street courses. So, big shout out to him. I was thinking about letting him by and doing a little bump drafting after Daytona, just to show some love.
Yeah, that was a good race as well. Good team thing here, and tonight again, the team able to get the 1-2. And what it does mean is we've got 3 different winners in our 3 rounds here in GT3 Pro. Jagoda, of course, took the win at Canadian Tire. And of course, Ken got the win a couple weeks back there at Daytona. And tonight is your opportunity. You get the win here at Long Beach, which I tell you is such a tough place to race. The walls, the intensity, and then that yellow just in the middle of it. Do you get a chance to breathe? Do you all recover in this place, or is it just constant focus on the next wall?
I mean, the main straight is really where you get to breathe, but that's where you're checking your relative, making sure that you're not going to have a GTP whipping up by you into the back section. So it's not a lot of breathing. Luckily, we had a little bit of a break in the middle, allowed me to, have a drink of water and chill back.
Yeah, just an awesome job tonight, getting that victory for the team. But I'm sure you want to give some thanks to those that helped you get here.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. First of all, shout out to my wife, Anna. She's always in the broadcast, so I'm sure you guys see her all the time. She's my number one support. Shout out to Ken, Dre, all the Wrong Stuff guys, and then our sponsors, UbiSafe, Makoni Setup Shop, Dangerous, WC91 Liveries. Thanks, guys. I appreciate it.
All right, well, again, awesome job tonight. Michael Brooks getting the victory here in GT3 Pro at Long Beach. Congrats.
Thank you.
All right, Larry, let's move over to our overall winner tonight. Driver of the number, what number is he? Oh, that's right, because he drives a Porsche. He drives the 963. Driver of DNA Motorsports, Porsche 963. Our winner, Tanner Dibble.
All right, so Tanner Dibble looked like a man on a mission to win this thing tonight. All challengers came and went. Tanner, you just were in a zone tonight. Tell me a little bit about your preparation and how you felt about this race.
Well, this is probably one of the races that I practiced for the most, maybe ever. I love this track and really wanted to do well, so I'd like to think it paid off. A little bittersweet with how it went down, but still really happy.
Yeah, it was tough with the yellow coming out. It looked like things were going to go some way, and then some of your rivals sort of had their issues. But I'm not sure you gave anybody a chance. You had really strong pace, and you made sure that you got through the traffic cleaner than anybody. May not be a perfectly clean car at the end of the night, but we saw a lot of people struggling with traffic. You didn't seem to have that struggle. It's just is there just a rhythm to getting through, whether it's the GTPs getting lapped or through the GT3 fields?
Yeah, it's a bit of a rhythm, yes, but also just kind of knowing who you're coming up on, like no offense to the guys in the back, but they're going to be a little slower. So you just got to, give them that little bit of extra space and try and get a good exit to go around them. But yeah, a lot of patience. And actually me and my teammate Ben did the 6-hour here, the endurance series, and that was definitely a good a warm-up.
Yeah, for sure. Getting used to staring at these walls and these bumps and all the manhole covers and everything else that you hit, getting used to all of those things. I gotta ask, on our timing tower, we didn't see a pit stop for you. Were you able to use the yellow to avoid stopping?
Yes, I did not pit. The yellow was long enough to where I was pretty much holding the clutch almost the whole lap and just saving fuel, because I knew if I pit, I was going to lose track position, and luckily for me, the yellow went on very long, so I was able to save enough fuel.
Yeah, I mean, it's a bit of a gamble, but it definitely pays off. But you have to execute that. You've got to save that fuel during that time and be willing to go right to the end on fumes, and you did that with strong pace right up to the finish. And I tell you, as you said, you practiced for this one, and anybody who's listening, practice pays off. Every time somebody tells me after a dominant night that they practiced all week super hard for it, this is often the result. So congrats on that, but I'm sure you got some folks maybe at DNA Motorsports and some others you want to thank for helping you get here tonight.
Yeah, I want to thank my team. Really happy to have a full 1-2-3 DNA podium. That's awesome. Love these guys and look forward to racing with them the rest of the season, and everyone else, of course.
Awesome. Well, congratulations. Our third winner in 3 rounds here in GTP tonight. It's DNA Motorsports' Tanner Dibble getting the win. Congrats.
Thanks, guys.
All right. Thanks so much to Tanner. And yeah, Larry, I talked about riding the clutch during the caution period. I'm wondering what he was doing the very last few laps as well. But he had a lot of time to give. All right, so let's wrap things up here from Long Beach and take a look at what we've got coming up here in the next few weeks. Next week, next Monday night, February 19th, the Touring Car Cup heads down to, down under to Phillip Island for a 60-minute race to the checkered flag. Those are for our GT4 and LMP3 machines, and that'll be next Monday night, 8 p.m. Eastern Time. And then in 2 weeks, round number 4 of the Ricmotech World Challenge. And we're going to be heading to Italy. We're going to be heading to the newly scanned Mugello circuit here on iRacing, and the Touring Car Cup the Touring Car Cup started up their season at Mugello, and it turned out to be a hoot of a race. I'm hoping for the same here in the World Challenge. And again, in the end of April, come later this spring, the Ricmotech Sports Car Series for our GT4 and actually, did I say the Touring Car Cup was for the GT4 and LMP3 cars? Let's check that. It's for our MX-5 Cup and GR86 Cup cars. Because the Sports Car Series coming in the spring, that's for GT4 and LMP3, scheduled to start April 29th. All right, so for Larry Lefty McLeod, for John Grabowski, I'm Greg Ginsburg. We'll see you next Monday evening from Phillip Island. Have a wonderful week, everybody.
Ricmotech, high-performance sim racing equipment. There's only one place to go, ricmotech.com.